Hello, I'm Commissioner Mike McKay, and welcome to Allegheny County Commissioners Chat, where we talk about all things Allegheny County. You know, recently at one of our public business meetings, we extended a citation to Delegate LeRoy Meyers, who after 12 years serving the great people of Allegheny and Washington County has decided to retire. You know, LeRoy, we really appreciate everything that you've done for us here in Allegheny County. Could you maybe share with us some highlights, or have you reflected on the last 12 years?
Well, it's been an interesting ride, to say the least. It's been a challenge, obviously, living in Washington County all my life and coming to know the people and gaining friendships in Allegheny County. At first, it was a challenge, but it became much easier. Some of the things that we've accomplished, like the Allegheny, as far as the Mountain Ridge High School, we were able to get that accomplished in the first couple of years. I can't tell you how much we looked at places like Rocky Gap, and it sat out there, and the monies that we were spending, and finally, just in the last couple of years, we were able to get a bidder, put the casino there, and although I was against slots in the early part of my campaign, I saw that we got past that, whereas the voters spoke and they wanted slots in the state of Maryland. So it kind of went from a different posture of responsibility. And then because of the overwhelming 66, 67% of the people of Allegheny County said, we want slots, and we want slots at Rocky Gap. And I felt necessary to do the best I could to facilitate managing that. And as a result, not only did we get slots at Rocky Gap, we got a purchaser to take over that burden that we've had here in Allegheny that was just draining us yearly to now a profitable a casino. And by the way, with my vote in the House was the one that gave the state of Maryland table games. So that's very important to me.
You know, talking about Rocky Gap, as you well know, the commissioners have created the Allegheny County Opportunity Scholarship.
That's correct. Yes.
So the proceeds from the gaming will 45% goes to Allegheny College, and another 25% goes to FSU. So any graduating senior from either private, or public, or homeschool will have an opportunity for a 2-year or a 4-year degree, and that's from the gaming from the casino. So I appreciate from my 8 kids that you served in 12 years to see that Rocky Gap got into the private sector, and you're actually helping to educate my kids as well as the other Allegheny County residents' kids. And I think that's really, really important that the gaming was for education, and I think it's about $800 million has gone back into education from it. But here locally, because of the good decisions that you made, you were able to help the kids of Allegheny County get a 2-year or a 4-year degree.
Well, it was a tough decision, obviously. I don't gamble. I'm not a gambler, and I knew where I stood. But like I said, we got past that, and then I had to go to work for the citizens of Allegheny. Another thing is the Canal Place Authority. We come on board, and it was just the argument of, whose land is it? Where do we build a hotel? Can we build a hotel? And we were finally able to get that done. And I know that with the addition of the hotel here at Canal Place and the things that are going forward, I think that there's good things to come in the future for Canal Place Authority.
Talking about being a delegate for serving both Washington and in Allegheny County, can you tell me any milestones of many miles that you've driven or anything?
Well, that's been a challenge. As you know, they give you a few dollars at interim for travel. But as I said earlier, I knew as my dad and my mom taught me, they brought me up well, that if you are faced with a challenge, you have to either quit or work harder. And I knew that once elected, and who I defeated, obviously, 12 years ago, I would have to come here, make new friends, make new relationships, and work harder for the citizens of Allegheny. And of course, the vast majority at that time of the territory of District 1C is in Allegheny. It's about somewhere between a 1/3, 2/3 split. So like during the campaign, I spent 81 trips knocking on doors, shaking hands, and learning to know the people. And I will have to say, Allegheny is a tough place to be accepted. You may even know that as well as I do. But I got past that second election in 2006, and it seemed like the doors opened, the hearts opened, and people started to warm up. And it's like I said earlier, it's just been a pleasure knowing and getting to know more friends in Allegheny and some unlikely people that that didn't like me very well in 2002. That I defeated one of their own, and they thought maybe the world's going to come to an end, but it didn't. And the delegation, I can't say it enough about the fact that before, I don't know that we had as cohesive a delegation as we have now. And going forward, I think that the right person will be elected, and I think that that will continue in 2015.
You and I have been friends for over 12 years now, and when you first came on, one of the things that I really liked about you as a delegate is that you understood where small business struggles in the state of Maryland. You knew how to make a payroll. You knew that there were two sides to a check. Has your philosophy changed, or where do you stand on those type of issues?
Not whatsoever, not wavered a bit. I mean, the fact that, the backbone of the state of Maryland and the country, by the way, is the small business person, the guy that employs that 5 to 15 to 20 people. And I know in my business, as well as a small general contractor, I know how important that is, not only to me, but to families. I mean, and I know that with the number of employees I have, it's not a multi-billion corporation. But it's a small family corporation. It's something, if you look at the 60–70% of small businesses that really support this country and the state of Maryland. And I'm sad to say that, we don't have that. It seems like people are fleeing the state of Maryland, and that bothers me a lot because just like in Washington County, Allegheny County, state of Maryland, we have to do a better job and work harder to attract businesses to stay or come to the state of Maryland. And I'll tell you, it's going to take the right representation moving forward in Annapolis and Allegheny County to be sure we can get like we were talking earlier with Commissioner Valentine. You have several companies such as Love's, such as the Cracker Barrel, and I can't name the other ones we were talking about. But what is the problem in Allegheny County? Not Allegheny County. The problem is the State Highway Administration. Is the state. The state is standing away from permits, from approvals and this is the problem with our state right now, is we drag out and make it tougher and tougher with regulations to operate and do business in the state of Maryland. And that's where, as my next venture, as I hope it may happen, and whoever may replace me, that's going to be the challenge not only for the state of Maryland, but for Western Maryland.
It is true in Allegheny County we do have a lot of dirt flying. A couple of the other projects are some Dollar Generals, some auto parts stores, as well as a couple of hotels. And I actually last week met with somebody in Hagerstown who's interested in actually pursuing a development of another hotel. And so we're going to share those ideas as they bloom, that type of stuff. But you definitely have been a true friend to Allegheny County, and definitely been a true friend to me, as well as Commissioner Brody and Commissioner Valentine. And I tend to believe that it's your fiscal conservative upbringing that attracts us to each other, and we understand that regardless of Allegheny County, Washington County, or the state of Maryland, we have to live within our means. And it's kind of funny. I was talking to Governor Mandel a couple months ago, and he was talking about the budget process when he was governor and when he was majority leader, or was he Senate president? But anyhow,
he was Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the House.
Yes, he was.
Speaker of the House.
Yes.
And he said that we used to get the projections of what the revenue was. Right. We would cut that back by 10 or 15%, and then it was a free-for-all to figure out how much. But we always worked within our means. Could you explain maybe a little bit about the structural deficit that the state of Maryland seems to always be playing around with?
Well, not only is it a structural deficit, but we've really dealt a lot with what I call funny money. The problem we have is the revenue, and obviously it's like any family we have in Allegheny County or the state of Maryland. You can only spend what you make. You can borrow dollars, that's true, but eventually that will catch up with you. So the little trick that this state has played is that we will create other funds, and we will rob from those funds. The Chesapeake Fay Fund, the Rainy Day Fund, the Highway User Fund, and now we have things like the flush tax. We have things like the rain tax. And of course, we don't see that in Allegheny County, but there's 10 counties in this state that are paying a rain tax. Now think about that, rain tax. Flush tax is $1 billion a year. What that does, it gives this governor, and I don't want to bust on him, but the fact of the matter is that with a budget that we have, and you have these other pots that you can borrow from to, by the way, not really pay back, that allows you to balance the budget. And that's the funny money that we've been dealing with for probably the last 4 or 5 years, mostly during this O'Malley administration. But like they say, one day the hens will come to roost. And we're running out of time. And in a typical downturn cycle, I know in my business, we've had in the early 80s and the early 90s, we had a downturn in the economy. And maybe 18 months, something like that. But God knows that we've had this thing going on now for quite a number of years. And it's, as much as you try to spin it on a positive, it has not yet recovered. And there's little visions of hope, but it's not quite there yet. And especially it's not there in the state of Maryland. So, my trust is that eventually it will turn around. I think that we in rural Maryland, whether it's Eastern Shore, Southern Maryland, or here in Western Maryland, we do have a better way to live. We do have family. We do understand work ethics. And that means a lot. It means a lot to business that someone would want to come here. But we have to find a way to change the state, to change the county, and make sure that we can invite these people in and say, welcome. Welcome to Allegheny County, and be able to say, yes, state of Maryland, you have 90 days to approve this entrance permit. And that's one of my goals in Washington County, is to be sure that we know that they do their job. Not a year and a half of saying, sorry, loves, we haven't quite got finished with all the details. But make that, and by the way, what is that? Revenue. That's jobs, and much needed jobs in Allegheny County.
Certainly. Well, I really appreciate this insight of how LeRoy Meyers comes to govern, and want to thank you again on behalf of all the citizens of Allegheny County. Thank you from my wife and my 8 children, because you have made an effect on us, and we really, really appreciate that. Is there anything before we end this that you'd like to say?
Well, I just want to say thank you to the citizens of Allegheny County. You gave me a chance that I didn't think I would have in 2002. You took a chance on me. Not only in 2, but in 2006 and 2010. I hope I haven't left you down. I hope I have been the representative that you elected to send to Annapolis, and I hope that I took that conservative value that I know that the Allegheny County citizens possess. And Mike, I can't say enough about our friendship. I can't say enough about what I hope the future is. Commissioners Valentine and Brody, you guys have been a great team to work with the delegation. We got a good delegation, there's no doubt about it. And Senator Edwards and Delegate Kelly and Beitzel have been not only good people to work with, but true friends. And I think that means a lot where in other places in the state, there's a lot of infighting. And when you have everybody working with a little bit of there's a little bit of maybe adjustments, so to speak. But I think in the end we sit here in this room, and we talk about stuff for pre-legislative advancement for the Allegheny County, and we've always found a way to work together. So I thank you for that, and thank you for your leadership of Allegheny County, and we hope that your leadership will be continued in other efforts as we move forward.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Well, this has been an edition of Commissioners Chat. We thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.